You and I, for the best and worst, are who we are. Anyone hearing my voice right now has made innumerable decisions whose outcome has produced the you that sits there in traffic, on the toilet, or exploiting the caveat of making toast on a Wednesday. The entirety of your personality shaped ever so subtly like time's use of the wind and rain to erode away at the blank slate that you entered this world as. Except in this case, the abrasive breeze and the dickish precipitation are played by friends, family, pop culture, and life experience. Each individual instance chipping another micron away. This disintegration is a nonpartisan consumption. It'll wash away fears, joys, preconceptions, admiration, hatred, and love equally. The nothing from the never-ending story could be used as an example. It eats away indiscriminately at chaotic good and evil alike, leaving only the heart of what's believed in. So Rob and Weave came to us with this show idea to bring you fine folks to the attention of who we believe had the biggest impact on us to produce the rock-hard abs of perfect marbled men we've become. He wanted us to tell you about our hero, but more importantly, who in the history of time did we see, hear, read about, that made us stop dead in our tracks and yell, "Holy fucking shit, me too!" It may surprise you that I went with a genuine answer instead of a comic superhero. Just know that I totally could have made you believe that I believed Spider-Man was a for-real dude that lives in New York and is just super witty and cool and shit. Fuck. I wonder if it's too late to change mine to Spider-Man.
Spider-Man, Spider-Man, does whatever a spider can. Spins a web in his eyes, catches thieves just like flies. Look out, here comes the Spider-Man. Is he strong? Listen, bud, he's got radioactive blood. Can he swing from a thread? Take a look overhead, near there. Then goes the
And
Spider-Man.
hello, everybody. Oh, god damn you, Chris, with your farts and your things. Oh, man.
Tis
The
I.
things we go through for love.
Yes.
Indeed.
Yes. Indeed.
Hey, everybody, my name's Jason. What's yours, Chris?
That. Trismegistus.
Fuck yeah. How about you,
the third.
Rob?
Robble here, and it helps that I actually have the mic in my hand now because I was wondering why it wasn't showing up on my recording, little hoodigi.
Well, it's a good thing that you rarely ever say anything worth recording.
That's
shake
right.
it,
So-
shake it there like a salt shaker.
We have a special little after-school special of an episode for you today. Rob came to us with an idea because he thought that he had the 30th episode, which has since passed. I believe that was the Edgar Allan Poe episode. Whoop whoop. But he came to us and said, "I want to let the people know what we sound like, or not what we sound like. Why the fuck did I even say that?"
Basically,
Chris, are you there?
who makes you tick? Who was the historical figure that you heard something about one day and you stopped and went, "Really?" And then you just had to learn more about this person. Plus, you two depressed the fuck out of me the last 2 episodes, so I needed some happy research, and I couldn't come up with a happy serial killer, a happy conspiracy, so I had to come up with something to save my sanity. So,
Well, you guys just be prepared to be depressed again next week, because holy fuck, I'm going to be talking about World War I. Anyway,
Okay.
so we're going to jump into this as ASAP as possible. We will go ahead and throw out the fact that Chris, being the cool kid in the class that sits in the back, so the teacher can't see him fucking scribbling on his desk and shit and jacking off,
My sunglasses on.
has not... He hasn't exactly decided not to join in with the fun. He just thinks that he's too good for influence. He just thinks that no one in the entirety of the history of the human race has made him pause and say, "Man, that's pretty fucking sweet. I think I like that, and I want to chill with that guy. Maybe do like a double Dutch rudder thing with him.
I
It's
can't believe
totally
you wouldn't want to
true.
have a cigar with Bill Clinton. I mean,
Ooh, gross, slimy. Anyway,
I'd be careful of that one.
so I have one, and Rob's got 3. And
Well,
the
man,
original
don't
plan
talk
was
about my guy. I just didn't do any homework on him because it's not even like when Rob asked us about the homework. Like that was the only person that popped into my head, to be perfectly honest. So there was an impact.
Well, that's a perfectly
but it
valid
wasn't
answer.
Like, it wasn't like I had to, like I've ever done any research on him. I don't have anything specific about his life to talk about. I mean, I don't know anything about the guy.
We'll just tell people now.
He was a cool guy.
This
that's
is
all.
He was Carl Sagan.
Yeah,
who is
thanks,
a very
Jason.
cool guy.
Astronomer.
And you're welcome.
Filmmaker.
Extraordinaire.
Yeah, I mean, he was a great
Awesome
dude, I
voice
guess.
haver.
Yeah, he did have a pretty awesome voice. I guess the impact that he made, if any, to speak of, was that when I first saw the Cosmos, I don't know why his voice, I don't think it was his voice that was entertaining to me, but yeah, I think partially it was, and just, I've always loved space, so him breaking down astronomy and things like that in a way that a child could understand it, or at
Helped
least
you
a
understand
child
it.
this
I get
cool could understand it. I mean, I'm sure there were plenty of dunce little jitterbugs out there that
Oh, little jitterbug.
He's also one of the
that's what
few
we call him,
people that
right?
have his artwork hurtling through space as we speak. It has left our known universe and is actually outside
Twice.
of what we know is happening right now.
Yep, he drew those naked people.
Twice.
And I dig it. So, welcome everybody to another this is going to be kind of a mediocre episode of See No Hear No Speak No.
that's fucked up. How you gonna put me out there before
Okay,
you even
so
intro
I go-
the damn show?
So I go way too high, then I bring it, and then it's back to nothing, and then now it's just, and now you're like, oh, it's the, what, you knew we did an intro, and you knew you didn't do it.
You're just
I
gonna
don't
shit
know.
all over
Damn,
my
boy.
mental health. I see how you are. It's okay.
Yeah, he's like
Rob,
chopping it
you're
up.
still the new kid. You're still the new kid in class, and I'm still giving you wedgies, and I'm still putting my wet finger in your ear, and I'm still taking pictures of you naked with my bag in your mouth while you were asleep.
Well,
Wow.
yeah,
You got a little
that,
too much
boys and
detail
girls,
there.
is that's why Ludacris mentions on one of his albums that, you know, if you wake up with a funky taste in your mouth or some shit like that, you always go and find the white people you were hanging out with last night and force them to give up whatever fucking incriminating pictures they might have, because those motherfuckers is crazy.
Yeah, because we won't just draw dicks all over you. We'll take photographic evidence of said dicks and put them out into the world
Yeah.
and laugh.
Of you
or will we
enjoying
laugh?
fresh brewed tea
Mhm.
in your face hole. Oh man!
So,
I'm gonna need you to
so I
chop this. Now that you're editing, I'm gonna need you to go ahead and edit all this into its correct place, sir.
Oh, that's not going to happen.
I know it's not,
No.
but I'm telling you that it should, so that all the boys and girls can maybe listen to it as in their heads as if you had done it
Okay.
correctly.
You know what? I'll tell you what. I'll think about it, but I will bring up the point of there's only a reason to follow a rule if there's a consequence, and from where I'm sitting, I see no consequence.
Clearly,
other than
Melissa's not doing
Well,
her job anymore.
I wanted it to be kind of a free will
she's doing all right.
kind of show. That's why I didn't want to do the basic format that we've been doing. So why not let him have it before the intro? Considering he still ain't done his part either
Yeah.
yet.
Because he's a butt knuckle and he knows it, Rob. You're just giving him. You're just enabling his
It's not like it was much of a fucking intro, for fuck's sake.
his butt knuckling.
Oh,
Don't be
UFOs,
part of the problem,
conspiracies, and
Rob.
murder.
Yeah.
See no hear no speak no pod at gmail.com.
And butt knuckling by Jason.
Jason's just going to do it all. Okay, so Chris has Carl Sagan.
Yes.
And since...
And he likes space and stuff.
I like space and stuff. Yeah, man.
All right.
Cool shit.
Well,
I more serious about a subject I've never heard you. So
Really?
okay, so I'm going to start with my all-time hero. This is my favorite person probably ever that's ever existed. He is the man who has tamed lightning. He is a founding father of our great country. He is also makes you very, very happy when someone hands you a picture of him. and that would be
Wait.
Benjamin Franklin.
I got it. Is he Chris Trismegistus the Third.com?
No, that would be
Huh.
Benjamin Franklin.
I mean, well, both Chris Trismegistus and Benjamin Franklin used to sit naked outside of their balconies just cause.
That's
You better fucking
actually
believe it.
when I heard that. That was actually what made me stop and go, wait. This motherfucker did what? And he thought it was healthy
Oh,
for
absolutely.
him to sit 4 hours naked in the sunshine every day.
Mm-hmm.
We
He
both
He was not a
also-
good-looking man.
We both also have a family of skeletons underneath our front porch.
This is true. His residence that he lived in France was actually excavated about a decade ago, and they found all kinds of bones and everything else buried in the basement underneath the concrete.
And we
That's
both
also another great mystery. So is he a serial killer? Was he experimenting on humans? What was he doing? And
I mean, did he build the house? Did anybody else live there before?
Oh no,
or
he
after
built
they could
it.
have done it?
Yeah, no, he built it.
it definitely
And-
dates
and,
to his time of being in this
do you
house.
think- It might be tied to that cool club that we both also were members of back in the day. You know what I'm talking about? You know?
Baby.
Wait,
You know
are you
what I'm
talking about
about.
band? What the fuck?
Band? Fuck out
He
of
was
here,
actually
nerd.
a member of several secret societies. He's just an all-around enigma.
Sweet dude that got tons of tang.
Oh,
Mhm.
Don't get me
Yes.
wrong. I like band nerds. I'll bang the shit out of them, but I was never motivated enough to be in any kind of clubs. Jason.
I just didn't want to have gym. I didn't want to have to change in front of other boys.
Yeah.
That's why I know how to play music, is because I didn't want other dudes seeing my dick. That is the only reason that today I'm an accomplished musician in many instruments, is because I didn't want to get naked in school.
I believe that. That was weird.
Now, you should believe it, because that is absolutely true. Sorry, Rob.
Oh, it's okay.
I had to throw that out there. Yeah, therapy.
that
Therapy.
Ben Franklin was actually an outlaw for a majority of his life. He started off as an apprenticeship with his older brother to become a printer. He actually ran away from that apprenticeship, becoming a fugitive.
What?
And that's how he ended up in Philadelphia.
Because he started printing boobies, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
He started
All about
putting
them
boobies
taters.
on everything.
Okay, wait 1 second. I understand that, but what I don't understand is, it was against the law to leave an apprenticeship?
Yes, because he was basically an indentured servant. I will take care of your room, your board.
Oh.
You will work for me for this amount of time. I will teach you the craft of offset lithography, printing, and basically pay for you to live here. And in return, you will work for me for free for this set amount of time. But
Okay.
Ben Franklin was actually a practical joker, and he loved to screw with his older brother. At the time, he actually would write letters to the editor, which was his brother, stating that he was an elderly widowed woman, and would write these in such a way that his brother would not even recognize his own handwriting, and would actually publish these stories from this old widowed woman that was actually his little brother writing him stories.
That's hilarious.
Oh my God. Do we have any surviving of the stories like that?
No,
That
unfortunately.
we can look up on our own time?
No.
Ah, bitch. But we can only imagine, I suppose.
So it
No.
wasn't boobies he was
Oh.
printing then. It was winged penises. That's what it was.
He was...
Just want some wings on my motherfucking penis.
But that's how he made his money, was printing. He actually set up a paper in Philadelphia. He started the Poor Richard's Almanac, which ran all kinds of little sayings and quips, which we do still have some
I
of
used to
those.
love reading that on the toilet. Yeah.
You
Well, it's
know.
still in circulation.
Save in for a penny, in for a pound. Things like this can be attributed to that Poor Richard's Almanac. And what he actually did later in life was he would say, I will buy the equipment and set you up, but I want 50% of everything you earn in your print shop. And he would go through basically setting up little offices up and down the East Coast, all through major towns, and he would get money. So eventually he didn't have to work. He would just get money sent to him every month. He was basically
gangster.
doing
Fuck,
franchises.
He's a
That's an
fucking
entrepreneur
gangster.
right there.
Yeah.
You give people their own seeds to start their own lives, but you take half of their fucking lives post-seed.
See, that
Exactly.
is the true American way, right there. Be a fucking gangster, but do it by the law.
Mm-hmm.
That's it's only half is not the American way. You get like 85%. We're starting to see some red, white, and blue that won't fucking run.
No, but
Here.
really, I mean, the American way is to do nothing and yet still get money. Like,
Now-
Still get profits, yeah.
yeah.
Now, saying that, he would sound greedy, but he was also an inventor. Everybody knows the bullshit story about the key hooked to the little kite and flying it and electric, and that's actually a crap story.
I do that with my dick while I'm actually outside taking my naked time.
Yeah, but you don't have a little cartoon mouse that looks exactly like you doing the same thing at the same time.
No, but that
But-
would be awesome. Actually, he would do it by his nuts because rats have huge nuts.
Oh my god, it's so bad. Oh god, they drag on the ground and whoa.
You could tie the little string to it and hang a little mouse key.
Do your balls
And
hang
let
low?
him
Do
fly
they
a
wobble
little-
to and through?
Yeah, let him fly a little fucking mouse kite tied to his nuts. That'd be sweet.
But he actually changed society in so many ways. He was as I said, he was known as the man who tamed lightning. He developed the lightning rod, and he gave that away for free. He could have patented it and sold it, but lightning strikes were such a huge deal back in the day. You could only build buildings with so many stories because they were afraid of lightning striking, starting fires.
Well, because everything was basically made out of fucking matchsticks back
Yes.
then, yeah.
And with the lightning rod technology that he developed, you could actually now build taller buildings and actually house more people in cities. So that's what really made him the
Yay.
rock star of his day. He was also credited with
Hey guys, here's this fucking piece of metal, this metal stick. Put it on top your roofs and stuff. Nah, you don't have to give me any money for it.
it's a little bit more than that. It actually it's a metal stick on top of your roof, but you also hook a piece of copper line from the top of it to the ground, and when the lightning strikes it, it follows down the copper wire into the ground safely instead of hitting the house.
So it diffuses.
Right. So
Gotcha.
there's a hot wire and then there's the tasty wire. Exactly.
He was also credited with coming up with the
Make it
bifocals
sound
because he got
sexy.
tired of flipping his reading glasses on, taking his regular glasses off, back and forth. So he said one day, why don't I just cut half of my reading glass and put it on the bottom and cut half of my regular glasses and put them on the top. So he actually developed the bifocals.
It kind of sounds like he was more of like a common sense inventor. Like he
yeah,
saw
yeah.
something and was like, "Wait, why doesn't this exist? I'm just gonna do that." And then other people were like, "Hey, is that magic?" And he's like, "I mean, I guess, yeah, sure, magic,
just
whatever."
kinda-
Just
Recognize
was,
the problem
just-
and an easy way
Exactly.
to remedy it.
He was also credited as the founder of the Philadelphia Fire Department.
I thought you were gonna say the Philadelphia Eagles, but please continue.
No, God, no. I would not. I would no. That would bring him down in my book. But he also is credited.
Marky Mark.
He is also credited with coming up with the. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. I have 5 lines written down on him, and most of this is coming out of my head. He's also credited
So we
with
got
building the
we got
first
lightning
major,
rod bifocals.
He's also
What?
credited with building the first major hospital in Philadelphia. He, for years,
Sweet.
he tried to get the city to build a hospital. The city council kept saying, no, we don't have the money. No, we don't have the money. So they said, if you come up with half the money through private donations, we will put in the other half and we will build the first real hospital for Philadelphia. He did it in 6 months, lobbying for people just to
Damn.
give money here, a little money there. And boom, Philadelphia had their first hospital.
Did he also come
Wow.
up with the whole plan for making it a fucking business, so that nobody actually lost any money at all because they're charging $300 for a fucking aspirin?
Well, that's the gold-plated aspirins, man. You got to ask for the regular ones that are $5 a piece.
God damn.
Yeah, Chris, come on. It's called common sense, man. Put your fucking glasses together.
$5 a piece. Fuck
But
out of here.
once you
Was
start,
he the guy? Was he the guy that the Liberty Bell thing with the big crack in it? He did that, right, with his dick? That's what I heard.
just walked up and bam. No, unfortunately. But he is credited also with
Can we just say
making-
that that's a Bible fact?
Yes, you can make it a Bible fact.
Is it Philly or is it Chicago that has that big monument-sized sculpture to fisting?
Oh, that's Philly. That's the one from Rocky. That's the Stallone one.
Yes.
The
He's
giant-
actually buried in
So
Philadelphia on one of the worst street corners in the entire city as we speak right now.
Who?
Worst for what?
Stallone?
No, Benjamin Franklin. If you go to visit his grave, you might want to bring a Glock with you because you're probably going to get robbed.
No. No. What you have to bring is a smile and a feeling of goodwill.
Yeah, let me know how that helps out in the hood. Let me tell you. Oh.
That works in
I
Philly.
mean, hey, I've never been mugged in the hood.
While proclaiming goodwill towards men.
Back when the projects were actually the fucking projects down here, I walked through unscathed quite a few times just saying, hey, how's it going?
Yeah, with or without your mohawk.
Well, no, I was in high school, so shaved head, actually.
They probably looked at you and go, that's one of them crazy white people. Don't mess with him.
Probably. The 2 times that had happened, I was in a fucking suit going to the opera, and my van broke down.
Benjamin Franklin can also
Been to
be
the opera twice, huh?
given almost 100%
More.
credit for the Americans winning their independence. Because he was sent over to France because he's a lover, not a fighter. His venereal disease record definitely shows that. He
Gross.
he once
He had them insects.
He did. He said that he by laying with low women, he has obtained several things that he did not want.
I bet.
He also said, ow, it burns when I pee.
Yes, but he specifically says that he laid with many low women in his time. But they sent
Well,
him
look at
over
him,
to
for fuck's
France
sake.
to try to get the French involved in our independent war, in our war for independence.
Mm-hmm.
And he's actually credited with becoming the American image that most people have over in Europe today, with the coonskin hat and the fur, because he wore those every night. He actually got over
What a
there
fucking
and
nerd.
requested they send over as many coonskin caps that they could get their hands on, and he would hand them out to the upper class over there in France.
And that's why today the American raccoon is extinct. Thank you, France.
Shit, I've got 3 that go through my trash all the time. I'll gladly ship them if there's none in Louisiana.
No, those are Canadian
Oh, okay.
raccoons.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that why they got
You
that
can't
funny
make a hat
accent?
out of them. Yep. And they always go.
No. Now, I want to say it was him and John Adams that were sent over there. Whoever they sent over there was not very entertaining. He was very studious, and he basically worked business hours trying to get things done. Whereas Benjamin Franklin, he would go out drinking all night long.
He was a
cavorting.
fucking rock star.
Yes, he would be out till 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning at the clubs, hanging out with the elite people, saying, you know, you really should spend some money and send some troops over here and really help us out against these, because you really don't like the English anyway, so you should help us out and really give them a black eye.
Yeah, they're a
And then
bunch
he'd be
of
like,
douche
hey, want to see
biscuits.
something gross? And then he'd pull his pants down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does this look like a rash to you?
I don't think rashes are supposed to ooze. I don't know.
Gross.
So anyway,
You
Rob,
just took it to an extra level of gross.
let's wrap up Benjamin Franklin's dangle here.
Why are you telling that man
'cause,
how to brush his story?
I was going to say, he was actually very involved in
favorite
the
person in the
forming
world.
of our first
Rule number
form of
1.
money. He was really into anti-counterfeiting, American money and coins, and a lot of
Hell
our first
yeah.
coins and money came from his designs, and he would change them up here and there. And he was also, and I'll end with this, he was also an abolitionist. He believed that nobody should own anybody else in this world. He was completely anti-slavery, and he did everything he could to make sure that it never came to America, although he failed. And he was credited
failed.
when at the end of the Constitutional Convention of leaving, going down to the pub or the bar down the road, and people asking him, Mr. Franklin, what kind of government did you give us? And he was quoted as saying, a republic if you can keep it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that really does. I mean, that gives me like a good feeling. He was such. He was an optimist for sure, or maybe not even maybe he was an optimist because of the whole "if you can keep it" part. Because he was a realist. He knew what people in greed and shit like that do to even the most pure ideas. But it's almost shocking how many good things he did with his life. I mean, for us to only now figure out that he was probably a serial killer as well is great.
And a fucking Satanist.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we know that that's not actually a bad thing, so...
Well, no, true, but I mean, back in those days, I mean, you think about. I mean, I personally think about this shit all the time. Just like how he was that inventor of, or not inventor, but he was that fixer of niche problems. You know what I mean? Like like we were saying. So you think about how thought processes develop as the world develops and as society develops and civilization and all that kind of shit. So then you get the idea for this invention, which sparks the idea for this invention and all these subsequent other things and yada yada yada. Right? Just kind of like math, how everything builds upon everything else. But you think about Satanism. Well, I think about this sometimes, that how Satanism today isn't a bad thing, and really, if you think about it and you trace back all the fucking blasha blasha blahs, and cut out all the shit that was fucking made up just to save face and all that kind of bullshit. It makes sense why it's not such a big deal, or why it's not such a bad thing nowadays. But what was Satanism really back in those days, when they actually still believed, like, wholeheartedly, that the devil was...
It was probably naked women and lots of wine.
That's what I'm... that's what I'm thinking,
satanic masses are about today, as naked women and lots of wine.
Indeed. And I think it took an intellect to bring it to that point, which is funny to say. It takes a smart guy to pull his dick out and make everything about fucking sex and getting fucked up. But in that case, I think it really did. It took an intellectual mind to realize, this is fucking dumb. If we just use this as a disguise, then people will leave us alone because they're afraid.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Yes, indeed.
I love it. I love it.
Dig it.
That's a cool guy.
I dig it a lot.
Now,
I've always really liked him.
This should have been the part where Chris talks about Carl Sagan, but we're going to skip that part because he already talked about Carl Sagan. And we're going to go right to Jason.
Dude, I will copy it and put it right in there, okay? Jesus.
No,
okay, so we'll do a
just
cut.
saying what I want to hear.
He needs a 2-second gap.
Well, I'm about to fart then and make that my story.
God, no. Oh, no. Oh, God, no.
How about that? Jason makes me want to fart.
So, everybody.
Now, do you want to
everybody out there?
Do you want to do yours, Jason, or you want me to do the second one and then yours, and then we'll do my final?
You know what? I'll go ahead and do mine, and that way you can
butt-knuckle sandwich.
Really do everything that you need to do with yours.
Okay.
So this will be good.
Can you guys picture that though?
I know my second one's going to piss Jason off to no end, but go ahead.
Nice.
Wait. Can we picture what? A butt knuckle sandwich?
Yes. Isn't that the most just strange thing to try to imagine in your head?
I mean, it's not great.
Knuckles from your butt on a sandwich.
So.
Or a pita.
Believe it or not,
You're
your comments just now they're the perfect segue into my 18th century famous composer.
Mayo, no miracle whip.
Oh, it's good. So, this guy here, he was born January 27th, 1756, and died December 5th, 1791, at the ripe old age of 35.
Hell no.
He was baptized as Johann Chrysostomus Wolfgangus Theophilus Mozart.
What?
better known as Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart.
Amadeus.
His
Yeah.
rock me Amadeus. His pop Leopold Mozart and his mama Anna Maria birthed him around that time, and then they all lived in fucking Salzburg.
Oh, they burnt
He
the
also
shit
had
out of him.
He also had a sister, Anna Maria Mozart, was nicknamed Nannerl, which I kind of dig for some reason.
Nannerl? Do you dig that because it sounds so much like the dog's name from The Lost Boys?
I thought it sounded like Narwhal.
I thought it sounded like Neural from... Anyway, no, I just dig it. It's cute. He was actually the youngest of 7 kids, and only his sister and he survived because 18th century.
7?
So
Jesus.
5 of them gone in infancy.
Good Lord.
So his dad was a minor composer, but he was a really fucking experienced teacher. He was appointed as fourth violinist in the musical establishment of Count Leopold Anton von Fiermann, who was the Prince Archbishop. Let me try that again. He was the Prince. No, see, why am I doing? He was the Prince Archbishop of Salzburg.
Peter picked the
Yay!
perfect
I
pack
got
of
it
pickled
out.
peppers.
Indeed.
No, it's the season. It's the season. The S's. It's the season. The S. It's always the season. The
Susie
S's.
Summers
Anyway.
sells seashells by the seashore.
No, there's no season. Anyway,
Slitting sheets for the sheet slitter's daughter because the sheet slitter's daughter cannot slit sheets on her own.
see, that was good. So he became. When the year of his son's birth, he had published a violin textbook, Versuch ein Grundschule Violinschule, which is basically, hey, here's how to play the violin real well. So he was a fucking accomplished dude. When Nannerl was 7, she began playing keyboard with her father because he was a great fucking teacher, while her 3-year-old brother looked on. Years later, after her brother's death, she reminisced, saying, he often spent much time at the clavier, picking out thirds which he was ever striking, and his pleasure showed that it sounded good. In the 4th year of his age, his father, for a game as it were, began to teach him a few minuets and pieces at the clavier. He could play it faultlessly and with the greatest delicacy, and keeping exactly in time. At the age of 5, he was already composing little pieces which he played to his father, who wrote them down. So basically, at the age of fucking 3, he was already fucking playing. The clavier is just fucking goddamn French or German, whatever, for keyboard. But at 3 years old, he's already fucking playing this shit, like, perfectly. And writing his own shit at the age of fucking 5.
Jesus, that's some fucking super genius shit right there.
And his sister was no goddamn slouch either. Like, she was fucking great too. So while he and his sister were young, they made quite a few just European trips where he and his sister performed as child prodigies, as they were. They played for princes, they played for fucking imperial courts, they played for the Pope at one point. They went to Munich, Mannheim, Paris, London, The Hague, back to Paris, Zurich, Donaueschingen, wherever the fuck that is, and Munich. But during that trip to Munich, he started meeting other musicians. And he met Johann Christian Bach, and he visited him quite a few times because he thought he was a fucking sweet, cool dude.
Probably
You know,
was.
musicians, when they find somebody that they can actually fucking sit down with and actually like and not hate because they're either better or fucking worse, is like it's like a cool thing. It's a real fucking cool thing. So he wrote his first symphony when he was 8 years old.
Out of here.
He wrote his first symphony when he was 8 years old.
Fuck out of here, dude. What does it,
Dude,
what does it
Makes you
take?
question what you're
to-
doing with your life.
Fuck, man. It makes me question why the hell genetics are so fucking, so hugely, vastly different in that respect. Why, like, what the fuck does it take to write every part for every instrument in the same song? What does it really take? Like, I've seen what it takes.
especially when every instrument's doing different shit.
Exactly. I've seen what it takes for, like, a rock band and shit. That's 4 instruments, maybe 5 tops. You know, I've seen that.
Mhm.
But this is a fucking symphony orchestra. How the fuck does any one person write for that, let alone a goddamn 8-year-old? What is the difference?
Dude, some people are just naturals, dude.
How
he was
and
given
why
the tools.
is there such a gap
And
like that?
Fucking brain difference, man.
Fuck.
Man, he
Brain
was
difference,
trained
that's
from
it.
birth to do it too.
No, it pisses me off.
This will tell you how crazy, fucking just musically inclined he was. Once in Rome, he heard Giorgio Aligheri's, it's called Misery, performed twice in the Sistine Chapel, where that's the only fucking place it's ever performed, and the music for it has never fucking been released. He saw it twice and wrote it out from memory, producing the first unauthorized copy of this closely guarded property of the Vatican ever.
Oh man, so he was pirating music?
That's
Basically, yeah.
He was
basic.
That's
His
hilarious.
his head was the first fucking CD burner.
He was
Yeah.
the LimeWire
That's-
of the day.
That's beyond amazing, though, dude. Can you imagine? Can you guys just fucking imagine if that, right? Because that's not just musically inclined. Like, that's mathematically inclined. There's several different, you know what I mean, things that go into that. But can you just imagine if that level of intelligence was like the standard base level for our species? Can you imagine how much fucking more ridiculously advanced we would be by this point if everybody was just that smart?
But then we wouldn't have dummies to fucking make fun of, Chris.
Yeah, we would. If that was base level, then that would be the dummy level.
Yeah, but I would
then-
need my place in the world because I am an idiot after all.
No, you would have robots by this point to do your job, Robot.
This
So
is
you
true.
could give us more homework that we don't have. Well, I don't have time to fucking do.
Okay,
Shit
so with all of these fucking these European trips and shit, his dad hoped that his son would that he would get basically set to an appointment by Archduke Ferdinand. And Ferdinand did contemplate hiring Mozart, but his mom, Empress Maria Theresa, she had a reluctance to employ what she called useless people. So the matter was dropped, and his hopes were never realized as far as being appointed by the Archduke.
She's not
Which
the mama
is,
for
after you hear
Archduchesses.
after you hear what he could do at such a young fucking age, it's kind of crazy that he was labeled a useless person.
It's kind of crazy that they
But-
didn't label him possessed by the fucking devil.
Oh no, man! People ate this shit up. People ate this shit up like fucking crazy.
Yeah, because it was soothing to their ears. But imagine if
Yeah.
they hated it. If he created metal back in those days, he would have been possessed by the devil, regardless of how amazingly
fuck yeah.
symphonic like he could have made it.
Well, in 1773, that is,
Oh,
he finally became employed as a court musician by him and his dad. This is after their tour of Italy and shit. They went back to Salzburg, and he was employed by Prince Archbishop Hieronymus Colloredo. He had a bunch of friends and admirers in Salzburg, and he worked his ass off. And he worked in all kinds of different genres, being like symphonies, sonatas, string quartets, masses, serenades, and a few minor operas. Remember, he's still really fucking young. So, but he hated being there. He hated being in Salzburg. He knew that he couldn't do shit there. Like he was just a court fucking musician.
It was
at
the
that
minor
point,
leagues.
Which, yes, they would be like, hey, we're gonna get you to write this music for this occasion, basically, kind of thing. But he wanted to compose operas, and Salzburg rarely ever, had occasion for them ever. And then in '75, the court theater was closed, and every other theater in Salzburg was usually reserved for like visiting theatrical troupes. So there was no place for him. So in '77, he resigned his position and went out into the world again looking for employment. He went back to Augsburg, Mannheim, Paris, Munich. He started making more friends with people, famous orchestra people in Mannheim, who were the best in all of fucking Europe at the time. This is also when he met his first real love, who was Aloysia Weber. She was one of 4 daughters in a really fucking famous musical family. But nothing fucking came of it. So he had to leave, and he kind of dropped that whole relationship thing with her. When he was out, he was so poor that he started having to pawn all his valuables. And then he got news, while all this terrible shit was going on, that his mom had taken ill and died. And mostly because when she was sick, there was a delay in even calling a doctor. Like, they could have saved her, didn't, died. Because they didn't have the fucking money. Yeah. So he stayed out, and he moved in with Melchior Grimm, who was a secretary of Duke d'Orleans, which is great, and lived in his fucking mansion. Which, you know, if that's going to happen, you might as well live in a mansion.
No doubt.
So, we're going to jump forward a bit here. We're going to move him over to Vienna, because this is really where the whole of what you know as Mozart happens. His first major opera in Vienna was released to what they say is a considerable success. But Mozart was fucking terrible with money. Like, he was really bad with money. And he was under Colorado still at the time here. Now, he just wanted to have a musical servant at hand. He didn't care if it was Mozart or anybody else, but Mozart fucking hated this. Because, I mean, Colorado would make him dine with the valets and cooks at dinners. Like, he wasn't being recognized for the fucking genius that he was, basically.
Damn.
He was just a houseboy.
Basically, yeah, he was just a houseboy that could play real pretty fucking music. And that's it. Nothing more. So, Mozart wanted a bigger fucking career, and he wanted to leave. And so he writes his dad. He says, "My main goal right now is to meet the emperor in some agreeable fashion. I'm absolutely determined he should get to know me. I would be so happy if I could whip through my opera for him and then play a fugue or two. For that's what he likes." He did get to play for the emperor, but dude, Colorado just wasn't fucking letting him go, really. Finally, after over and over again, just basically begging to fucking leave, he let him go. He he let him resign, but he was literally kicked in the ass on the way out. It was administered by the Archbishop Stuart, Count Arco. So he decided to settle in Vienna as a freelance performer. But Colorado kind of fucked up all of his other shit. Like, he wasn't getting a whole lot of work. He wasn't getting... Well...
He was blacklisted, basically.
Kind of, yeah. He would perform as a pianist, and people would go to see him. And he was in a competition before the emperor with another dude named Muzio Clementi. And he had established himself as the finest fucking keyboard player in Vienna. He also was composing, doing an opera here and there. The first one, The Abduction from Seraglio, which fucking goddamn Italian. After that, I mean, that first opera, the first big one, was being played everywhere throughout Europe. Like, people fucking ate his shit up because it was revolutionary. They were hearing things that no one had heard before out of this man. So, Aloysia, the chick from earlier, who had rejected him, she was married now, and they were happy and shit. So, Mozart was like, "Hey, what's up with your sister, Constanzi?" So the courtship wasn't fucking great at first. Like, that they do have some correspondence from them, and they had separated a few times, and he had a really hard time getting his father's permission to marry her. They finally got married in 1782. They got married the day before his father's official consent arrived in the mail.
Oh, wow.
Which, whatever.
So it was basically an eloping instead?
Yeah, basically, I guess. They had 6 kids. Guess how many survived?
Uno.
This is the game we're going to start playing. Well, no, close. You got 2. 2 of them survived. But in this time, from between like 82 and 83, he started really getting acquainted with the work of Johann Sebastian Bach, with George Friedrich Handel, and then just his shit started really progressing and changing into something that, I mean, he was already bringing people stuff that was new and fresh.
See,
but now he's starting to.
Can you imagine if they would have done collaborations and featured artists back in those days? Man.
Oh, indeed.
Those rap
Because
albums
now
would
he's
have been
bringing
the shit.
shit. He's bringing shit to people that are. It's like it's mood music that is fucking enjoyable as fuck. This is shit that people have nobody's ever fucking heard. So like my favorite opera of his is The Magic Flute, and there's this one aria in it which just means like a woman's solo song that's just called the Queen's Aria, and it is the most impressive vocal performance that any woman could ever hope to sing. And when it's done well or perfectly, it's moving to the point of fucking like moving. It's
Whitney
crazy.
Houston or what?
Whitney Houston could not have fucking handled this song.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll say that now. I'll play it for you later. So he that comes out. People are digging the fuck out of it. In '83, he and his wife visited his family in Salzburg. His dad and sister were still there, and they're, hey, sister that he didn't actually like that he's married to now, how's it going? Like, they're cool, I guess. He did a little bit of writing there, let her sing on it. Then he met Joseph Haydn in Vienna. Like, this whole thing is like a walk-on of like, hey, there's fucking Mick Jagger. Oh, hey, there's fucking goddamn Paul McCartney. Like, these
Sounds
names
like it.
are the fucking superstars of his day. And they're just all like hanging out, like talking fart jokes and shit.
Sounds
you know?
like the intro to SNL.
Yeah, indeed.
Musical
indeed. Well,
guests.
back in the day, yeah. Fucking Haydn says to his dad in a letter, I tell you before God and as an honest man, your son is the greatest composer known to me by person and repute. He has taste and, what is more, the greatest skill in composition. Sorry. But still, like, that's fucking pretty serious fucking praise.
You should apply to be a member of G.E. Smith and the Saturday Night Live Band.
Oh, whatever happened to G.E. Smith, man? I loved his
He's
faces.
still around looking like
His
a
faces
fucking creep.
were the best. So, did you guys know that Mozart was a Freemason?
No, but I guess I could have imagined he'd be part of the fucking Naked Club.
Okay, and then that's all I'm talking about it, because who gives a shit? It's a fucking goddamn gentleman's club. So he goes back to opera. This is around 86, 87. His life's starting to come to an end, but he's
like
still
30 now.
He is shitting out some serious shit, like the fucking Marriage of Figaro, which was actually outlawed by the king because it was based on a play that was written by revolutionaries. But then Mozart was like, but you should let me do it anyway. And the king was like, okay. And it became fucking huge. And he also came out with the opera Don Giovanni, which is one of the few that I've seen in person, which is fucking impressive, a spectacle as you could ever fucking hope to see. Mm-hmm. So Mozart's dad dies shortly the fuck after. And this is a cool little tidbit here in 87 around the same time, is that Ludwig van Beethoven spent several weeks in Vienna hoping to study with Mozart. Although no records survived to really tell us if it ever happened, it's cool. They were both there at the same time. Little fucking Beethoven went there explicitly to see and meet and study with Mozart. So I like to think it happened.
I can see Mozart's throwing grapes at the little deaf kid to get him to pay attention. Be like, hey, look over here, fucker.
He wasn't deaf yet, you dick. Anyway, so toward the end of the decade, Mozart's his circumstances and health started to worsen quite a bit. His circumstances, money-wise, was because the Austro-Turkish War had broken out. Basically, the aristocracy just didn't have the dough to fucking support music anymore. In '88, his family moved from like the central part of Vienna out into a suburb. And a lot of people think that's because they were that broke that they had to just move out of the city, but really they were paying the same amount. They just had a lot more space for the amount, you know what I mean? Uh-huh. But he still he pissed money away like fucking crazy. He went out on tour again, hoping to find something new to help him out, which didn't really happen. His final year, though, he had his best work came out of. Like, it was a huge fucking moment of productivity for him. He composed a ton with the opera The Magic Flute, his final piano concerto, a clarinet concerto, some fucking series of string quartets, some other shit, and probably his most famous thing is his unfinished Requiem, which is a mass for the dead, which unfinished should tell you something. So it fucking money and illness fucking plague him for the rest of his fucking life.
Mm-hmm. And always wondering, what's up with your sister? She still got that pussy? Mm-hmm.
No, man, they were cool, man. Like, as far as I know, they were cool.
He's like,
he fell ill
staring at
while
his
he
brother-in-law like, yeah, I had that. What?
Oh, they were cool.
He fell ill while he was in
like
Prague. And his premiere of his opera La Clemenza di Tito, and he fucking was basically bedridden. He was nursed in his final illness by his wife and her younger sister, and attended to by the family doctor, Thomas Franz Closet. He was mentally occupied with the task of finishing the Requiem, but he fucking died. He died in his home on December 5th of 1791, and this thing describes his funeral. Mozart was interred in a common grave in accordance with contemporary Viennese custom at the St. Mark's Cemetery outside the city on December 7th. If, as later reports say, no mourners attended, that too is consistent with Viennese burial customs at the time. Later, Jan wrote that Salieri, Sussmeyer, Van Swieten, and 2 other musicians were present. The tale of a storm and snow is false. The day was calm and mild. When they say a commoner's grave, they don't mean like a fucking mass grave. They just mean he was a common man. Like, he wasn't fucking aristocracy, so he didn't have this fucking sweet ass fucking grave, but he wasn't a pauper, so he wasn't fucking thrown in a mass grave. The thing with a common grave back then was that you could be dug up in 10 years to make room for somebody else, basically.
They still do that shit in Japan.
The cause of his death just completely can't be known. The official record has it as Hitzigspieselfieber, which is severe military fever, referring to a rash that looks like millet seeds.
I'm going to go with
More a
syphilis.
description of the symptoms. So researchers have posited that at least 118 causes of death could be fucking pointed to, including acute rheumatic fever, streptococcal infection,
Bless you.
trichinosis, influenza, mercury poisoning, and a rare kidney ailment. So, after he died, people fucking went crazy for him. Just like fucking everybody else that fucking died that was cool.
Mm-hmm.
One of the most fun things about him, and why I say that the segue you had was fucking pretty sweet, Chris, was that he loved shit humor. He loved it. He fucking loved shit humor. And I, just real quick, to end this, am going to read a bit of his scatological humor in a letter to his cousin when they were somewhat young, but not young enough for this to be okay. This was in 77. Dear Cuzbuzz, I have received, reprieved your highly esteemed writing biting, and I have doted my great Garfunkel, my Aunt Slant, and you two are all well mel. We two, thank God, are in good fettle kettle. You write further. Indeed, you let it all out. You expose yourself. You let yourself be heard. You give me notice. You declare yourself. You indicate to me. You bring me the news. You announce onto me. You state in broad daylight. You demand. You desire. You wish. You want. You like. You command that I, too, should send you my portrait. Ich bin. I shall mail fail it for sure. We, by the love of my sin, I shit on your nose so it runs down your chin.
That sounds like something you would write, Jason, right there.
Oh, man, if only I could do that.
I like this guy.
His whole fucking family was like this, though, dude. This is a really short letter from his mom to his dad.
I shit on your nose.
Adio ben mio. Keep well, my love. Into your mouth your ass will shove. I wish you good night, my dear. But first, shit in your bed and make it burst.
What the fuck?
Oh my god.
So he Mozart actually wrote a canon, which is a song called Leck mich I'm Arsch, which is lick me in the ass.
Oh my god.
I like this guy a
which-
lot now.
which really in today's day and age would be kind of equal to kiss my ass, but still it's fun. So his whole family would just love joking about shit and butts and stuff. So yeah, I had to throw that in there. And
That is
really,
fucking
just real quick, the
awesome.
reason I fucking love him so much is because he not only was just fucking so gifted, just insanely fucking gifted, he fucking knew it, and if you didn't like him, fuck you. And he made sure to say it. Showed his ass to the fucking archbishop when he fucking wanted to leave. That's why he kicked him in it when he finally did. And, like, made dick and fart jokes in front of queens and kings and fucking was late to this and that because what the fuck are you gonna do about it? I'm fucking Mozart.
Love
Yeah, he
that
fucking
shit.
lived life in fucking poverty and ended, like, he was the first fucking grungy shit punk rock, but loved the way he looked. Had to have his fucking wig perfect and fucking crazy, and like he just did shit that nobody else ever fucking did. And he didn't care if you liked him or not. He was just gonna fucking do it anyway. And when I
love
knew that it
every
was
second
okay
of
to
it.
fucking be that way, it was an epiphany for me fucking watching Amadeus, which I'm not even going to go into how fucking wrong any of that movie is because it's very wrong. It was still a great movie. That's when I started telling people I dug opera because fuck you. I don't give a shit if you know, you know? So yeah, hey, there's Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart.
Indeed. Shit on all of your noses.
That's right. Shit in your bed, make it burst.
What? How much shit does that take? What are you
A
drinking?
ton.
What are you
It's
eating?
like a oh god, it's a bunch of shit, Chris. It really is.
What is your diet that you're
Oh.
shitting in your bed until it bursts?
Oh.
I'm not changing those sheets.
All right, Rob. We got a half hour. Can we do it?
Yes,
Or
we can do it. Yep. If I can get through this person without you getting too pissed off.
Well, I already know that you're going to be talking about a Nazi.
Well,
But
that's the last
You
guy.
was short.
That's the last guy.
Oh wow, really?
Yes, that's the last
So
guy.
this is
our president. This is one
so
of
the
our
guy
presidents.
I'm really going to get pissed off. The guy I'm really going to get pissed off about isn't even the Nazi.
Exactly.
Nice.
Please,
Bring
please, let's do this.
Okay, we are going to be talking about Silent Cal, our 30th president, Calvin Coolidge.
Dude, no, I love him. I always wanted him to be like my cool uncle, or like my mom's uncle that I only saw every once in a while. Like he would give you $1 and tell you to go fucking buy something nice for yourself and not tell your mom, and you'd be like, with a fucking $1, and you'd throw it away. Yeah.
I'm going to start with a quote of his. And this is from 1914. It says, "Do the day's work. If it be protect the rights of the weak, whoever objects, do it. If it be help a powerful corporation better serve the people, whatever the opposition, do that. Expect to be called a stand-patter." A stand-patter is someone who stands in the way of progress. It's an old-timey term. I figured I'd give out the definition.
Mm-hmm.
But don't be a stand-patter. Expect to be called a demigod, but don't be a demagogue. Don't hesitate to be as revolutionary as science. Don't hesitate to be as reactionary as the multiplication table. Don't expect to build up the weak by pulling down the strong. And don't hurry to legislate. Give administration chance to catch up with the legislation. I can't even fucking say it, but you know what I'm trying to say. There you go.
Legislation.
He was our 30th president. He was actually elected to be the vice president to Warren Harding, but Warren Harding decided to take his old ass around the country stumping after he won already. Why he was out doing this. Ended up having a heart attack, dropping dead. Boom. Right then and there. So they actually had to go track down Calvin.
Nice.
He was staying in a one-room shack out in the middle of the woods with no electricity, no phone, no nothing. They literally had to send a page on a horse to go up to this place to tell him, hey, you're the president now.
Hey, guy. Wanna come stay in this house?
Guess what?
Now, in 1924, he was re-elected to be president, so he actually wasn't just a placeholder. But he actually came up through Massachusetts as a Republican. Back in the day, huge Republican territory. Everybody thinks today it's the Democrats and everything like that, but back then, it was the Republicans that held sway throughout there. He literally worked his way up. He was a city councilman. He ran for just about everything. The only election he ever lost was to be on the school board. And the reason they didn't elect him is because he had no kids. And when he found out that people didn't vote for him because they didn't have kids, he was quoted as saying, "Well, you didn't give me time."
It's like I totally could have got some chick pregnant, whatever. If that's what you guys needed, I just totally could have done that. But I mean, God, I'm just
What propelled him into the national spotlight was in 1919. He was the governor of Massachusetts, and the Boston police decided they were going to try to unionize and then go on strike. Well, they went on strike. And Calvin at the time was kind of ignoring it, going, "I'm the governor, I'm going to let the mayor deal with it, blah, blah, blah." After 2 days of rioting, though, he sent in the state National Guard, locked down the entire Boston city, and fired every police officer on the Boston police at that time, and hired an entire new police department.
Because they all
Damn.
talk like idiots. How could they possibly do
Exactly.
their jobs correctly? They sound
But
like
he
this
fired
every day.
every police officer. Could you imagine if you were just a regular Joe beating, going down your beat every night, doing your job, doing what you're supposed to do? You weren't striking, you weren't doing none of that, and he fires your ass anyways? It's like the Ice Cube. How do you get fired on your day off?
I mean, yeah, it would suck. Well,
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
That's the first thing I
mean,
would
that
do.
seems like it's a catch-22. It's a good thing because I don't know why. I don't know what the politics were like back then. I don't know if they deserve to unionize or whatever. Well, no, because then if they wait, I don't know how unions work. What's a union?
What's a union?
A union is people who collect money out of your paycheck and then don't do anything for you.
Oh well, yeah, let them unionize. I don't give a fuck.
But he actually he started pressing for laws at the time, and actually today it is illegal for any fire department or police department to go on strike. It is illegal for them to do that. They can no longer do that.
Well,
they can
yeah,
be
because that
in a union,
puts fucking
but they
lives in
cannot.
danger.
Exactly.
You signed paperwork, you bunch of buttholes. You took an oath. Yeah, any job you got to take an oath to do, like, I think it's a lot of responsibility.
And it's even more responsibility when you have to take a Quaker oath.
Ugh. That fucking guy. Let's not go into that guy.
All right.
He looked like Benjamin Franklin.
He
Callback.
did. He looked just like him.
All right, 1924, he gets reelected. When he comes in the office, the income tax rate is 95%. For the wealthiest, 40%. So if you were in the top 40% of income earners, you were paying 95 cents on every dollar you earned in the United States.
What?
I'm cool with that.
So his
Jesus.
first year, he lowered it down to 58%, and he fired half of the federal government.
Yeah.
In 1924, he
It's the first
he
thing I
cut
would do.
half the federal government off. He just said, "You guys go somewhere else." 50% off the top, done.
Is that his cure for
Love
every
this man.
disease? Is he like, my kid's fucking baseball team is losing. Everybody on the fucking coaching staff, gone.
Fired.
New coaching
Pretty
staff,
much.
unproven. Let's go.
You
Pretty
fired.
much.
Oh my God. I'm already drawing parallels.
Then he lowered it from 58% to 46%. And he eliminated all income taxes for 2 million U.S. citizens. 2 million in 1924. I don't know the percentage of population, but that had to be a huge chunk of fucking people not paying taxes anymore.
Yeah. Hello, depression.
And then he cut another 50% off the budget, off the top. 50%, another cut. So he cut 75% of the government in 2 years.
He just
Goddamn.
walked into office with a fucking chopping block and a samurai sword, right? Like he was like,
Pretty
we're going to
much.
fucking do this, and we're going to do it fucking right way.
Pretty much. So
Jesus
by
Christ.
1927, 3 short years later, only the wealthiest 2% paid all the income tax. So 98% of America paid no income tax at all.
And why would I not like this guy? Because I'm okay with that.
Because I didn't think you didn't like too many people on the right.
Well, I mean, if he's all about making just the richest fucking take care of everybody else, I'm okay with that.
But he cut. You got to think that means there's no welfare, there's no social security, there's nothing like that right in this budget at all.
There doesn't have to
There's
be.
Well, you're not
no
paying
safety
taxes,
net.
so you can afford him now.
Excuse me. Sorry.
To put it in perspective, the state of New York had a higher operating budget than the federal government from 1925 through 1928. The state of New
Damn.
York spent more money running the state of New York than the federal government did running.
So he more like neutered the government's fucking possibility of doing
Anything.
public good.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Gotcha.
He cut it down to nothing. And I mean absolutely nothing.
Interesting.
He probably would have been elected again in a landslide, but in 1927 his son died, and he is quoted as saying, "My presidency died with my son. He just didn't have the heart to do anything anymore."
Aw.
Pretty much retired from public life.
And he never played catch again.
Pretty much. You cut forward a few years, they actually, during the Great Depression, they tried to call him up and say, "Hey, your country really needs you. Come help us get out of this Great Depression." So he shows up in Washington. He lines out a proposal to do this, and FDR says we can't do that and kicks him out.
Damn.
Well, I mean, but he had his New Deal in the process, and
Yeah, the New Deal actually extended the Great Depression.
he
by
wanted
several
all the
years.
glory and dust storms is all we got.
But Calvin Coolidge, to me, is what the federal government should be. Is what it should be. There shouldn't be a Department of Education. There shouldn't be an EPA. There shouldn't be any of that crap at a federal level. The federal government should only be there to stop squabbles between states. And
But then,
if we could
but
cut,
then states aren't states. Then we're not a United States of America. We are a bunch of states that we are countries at that point. Louisiana's a country. Tennessee is a country. Wherever the fuck Chris is
Exactly.
wherever the fuck Chris is.
Well, that's
But
and that's the way it's supposed to be.
But
Yeah.
but then we're Europe, and then we have to fucking
No.
stop bathing and eating frogs and shit. I'm not down. I
It's-
don't like it.
It's just like Franklin said, "I've got a republic if you can keep it." They envisioned every state to be a laboratory, every state to be different. What works in California is not going to work in Tennessee. What works in Texas is not going to work in Louisiana. So why should you, Jason, pay tax dollars in Louisiana for crap that happens in Oregon? Why should you
Because-
send money to the federal government to disperse to other states?
Why should I try to answer a question if you're going to talk over me with another question?
Etiquette.
Hey man, it's all about goodwill toward men, man. It's all about what Tiny Tim said at the end of that fucking beautiful book
Supposed
by
to be.
Dickens. He said, "Well, what about an operation for my fucking legs, you old man?"
My third leg.
And that rich old man, out of the kindness of his heart, reached in his pocket and paid for that kid to have it, instead of having the government come extort money from him to then
But-
turn around
but
and give
what
it
if-
to the kid and take 20%
But what if every
off
old
the top.
man's like, "Nah, I don't think I want to do that." Well, then you have to have somebody extort him. Because the doctor needs a yacht, and he's not going to fucking get a yacht unless the government extorts money from fucking Ebenezer Scrooge.
Yeah.
I've said it once, and I'll say it 1,000 more times. Fuck you, Ebenezer Scrooge. All you brought was a goddamn turkey, and you expect everything to be cool? Fuck you.
He bought the biggest goose. He bought the biggest goose.
Oh, the goose. I'm sorry, you're right. My bad. The fact that it wasn't a
was a
turkey,
Christmas
that it was in fact a goose. It was the biggest, largest Christmas goose that he could fucking pay a child to run down to the fucking store and fetch for him. That he couldn't even fucking walk and waddle his fucking stupid cane ass over there and get it himself. That
That's
makes
right.
it all better. You're right. You're right, Robert. You've fucking opened my eyes to fucking goddamn communism.
Wasn't even in Turkey.
No communism. All right, so you want to move on to my least controversial Nazi pick here?
The least controversial Nazi pick.
Is he your
There's
least
a statement you'll
controversial,
hear all the time.
or is he your least controversial Nazi?
He is the least controversial Nazi you will ever hear of.
That's awesome.
Is he Tom Cruise?
He's Joe the Nazi.
No,
He was drafted.
no Tom Cruise. It is the Devil Fox, Rommel, Erwin Rommel,
The
which I'm
Devil
sure
You didn't pick him
you guys-
because it's Rommel.
No, no, you gotta love the Desert Fox.
Desert Fox.
He was the
Mhm.
Desert Fox.
I love the dessert fox.
Yeah, I was,
That too, dipped in chocolate.
I was like, Devil
Oh
Fox?
man, and then just drizzled on with that awesome strawberry, like that cream stuff that you put on top of those fucking little strawberry shortcakes. And I'm like, oh man, desert fox, great.
Well, Rommel, unfortunately, killed himself. He
Aw.
took cyanide.
Well then, yay,
pills.
he is the best Nazi.
Well, he was kind of given an option. He put Hitler in a bad position because he tried to kill Hitler. He was one of the lead people in the July 20 plot to kill Hitler using a bomb.
I was
But they
hoping
put the
you were
bomb
gonna
on the
say
wrong side of the
spooning.
fucking table. And
Yeah, that was the movie Valkyrie with Tom Cruise.
Never saw
yes,
it.
they.
Me either. I saw a History Channel thing about it though.
But that gave Hitler a problem because he wanted to execute Rommel. He wanted to take him out in the street, hang him, and put a message out there. But he couldn't because Rommel was so big in the propaganda and people loved him so much that Hitler was afraid that if he publicly executes him and puts him on trial, that the people would turn against Hitler.
He would become a martyr.
Exactly.
Can I just make one quick statement? And you know, this is something that, and I've said this really recently a couple times. This is something I never thought I would say, but it's becoming more and more apparent to me in my adult ages and stuff. So yeah, people are idiots, and I'm sorry to say this, myself included. I fucking have exhibited, what you call it, signs that I have fallen victim to this as well. But if people were not influenced by things like media and entertainment and such, you know, because you remember growing up and listening to rock music and shit, and you know, seeing the fucking Geraldo special about how, you know, heavy metal music makes you be a Satanist and fucking murder babies and shit.
And thinking it was way fucking cooler because of it, yes.
Yeah. So okay, so I've always been that rebel kid. Nah, I'm smarter than that. It's not the music that makes me crazy. It's fucking society, blah blah blah. No, that's kind of, yeah, it's kind of true, but kind of not true. So, but my point though is that if that wasn't true, then propaganda wouldn't be a thing. Like, the government
Right.
is slapping you in the face with the fact that this is true, and they are manipulating everything you see. That it has to go through their approval first before you see it. Come on, man. Continue, Rob.
And you had me so fucking terrified that you were going to end that rant with, and I think Hitler was right.
No, sir.
He was
Hey,
a lovely painter.
You have no
I will give him
You
that.
have no idea. You have no idea the wave of fucking calm that just came over me when you started talking about propaganda. I was
Nice.
like, oh, thank God.
No, but when he said that guy, like, Hitler hated him because he put him in a fucking a bad position, I immediately thought of a touching documentary about Hitler called "Spooning Hitler." I was like,
Aw.
oh, okay.
I thought about Hitler like in a headlock getting a noogie, and I was like, that's an uncomfortable position.
Noogieing Hitler.
So Hitler gave Rommel the option. You can either commit suicide quietly and save face, or we're going to put you on public trial and we're going to ruin your life and everybody you ever met and
Fucking
knew.
making him commit fucking seppuku? What the fuck?
Wait, they still kind of
Well,
do that
he-
to this
he
day,
took-
though. That's
Yeah, he
still a
took
thing.
cyanide pills.
Yeah.
But
Same diff.
Rommel was actually a lifelong teacher and military man. He was a decorated World War One officer. He published a book in 1937 called Infantry Tactics, which is actually why Hitler wanted him so bad, because infantry tactics is still studied today. It's basically the basics for blitzkrieg. You come in with overwhelming force, you take things over. Hitler actually had a copy of this book. It's just you come in fast with overwhelming power, and you just take shit over before anybody even knew what happened. It's basically the basics of this book.
It's the Blitzkrieg Bop, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. But he was a highly decorated World War I officer. He was known for his chivalry throughout the English troops, and Patton had a great respect for him. Patton was actually very pissed when Hitler pulled him out of battle and brought him back to Germany.
So he would have been the one to
because Patton
spoon
really
Hitler
wanted to
if given
take
the
him
chance.
on. Yeah.
Yeah, and really, what better bedfellows could there be?
Yeah, he's a nurturer.
And Rommel was quoted that one of his favorite quote is "A war without hate." He was a notorious person who was not on board with the final solution. He made it very clear that he was not an anti-Semite, that he didn't blame everything on the Jews. He believed he was a German soldier first and foremost. So if Germany went to war, he was going to go to war, but he wasn't going to go there because he hated somebody. He was going to go because he was serving his country.
Huh.
Which is how most fucking, well, I can't say most, but which is how a lot of Nazi soldiers went to war, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, very few people, unless you were living in the town of Auschwitz, very few people knew about what was actually happening. And the people that knew turned a blind eye to it, and those are the most despicable people. I mean, it was...
Well, see, there's the
Very
propaganda
despicable.
shit again. You're a fucking normal person. Why would you know? Why would you know unless it's put in your fucking face and told to you who to hate and why we're killing everybody? Although it doesn't have to be a fucking really real reason. Like, we're just... These are people who are governing everything, telling you, okay, we're going over there. So yeah, most people weren't there because they hated everybody else. No, fuck no. That's what the fuck. That's but again though, back in those days, everybody was so fucking gullible, and we believed everything the government told us. Because why would they lie to us? They're protecting
They
us.
still do today.
Well,
They
yeah,
still
but
do today.
That's what. Oh my god, that's what drives me fucking insane. Like what? How? I don't know. The sheepishness of the whole thing. What kind of person are you really to believe everything?
Yeah.
The scariest thing about that whole thing is like this dude does sound like a genuinely good dude who happened to be really good at showing people how to kill each other, which whatever, that's the world they lived in, and we kind of still do, I suppose. But it is the mass of people that hold no fucking ideology with it, aside from this is my country, I will fight for it.
I don't even think it's that. I think it's mob mentality at its fucking finest. Let's play to that psychology, because they were basically.
I'm saying with Rommel in particular.
Oh, okay.
And
my
people
bad.
that were like him.
My bad.
As people that went to war because of nationalism.
Yeah.
And they
Yes.
were, because it sounds like he was vehemently against the final fucking solution, but was going to help carry it out anyway. And I mean, I hate saying this, but that's fucking cowardice. That's.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, there's
you
a
could
debate
say,
on
you could
if
say what else
actually
he could
knew.
do.
There's a debate on whether or not he actually knew it was happening.
It sounds like he
Because
was
he
kind of
wasn't-
high up in the whole deal, and especially if he was, the propaganda machine. I don't know.
Yeah, but he wasn't part of the inner circle. He was more of the face of the war that Hitler put out there, but he wasn't into... Now, if he was running the war, then pretty much there would be no Europe today. It would be Germany, maybe Great Britain, and then us right now.
Them some strong words coming.
Well.
Well,
that's
Because
something to
he
Russia
was-
would have fucking
he
stomped
was-
him. but
Well, if he wouldn't have went in the Rommel would have never went into Russia. He knew better. But Rommel had no air support. He had inferior equipment. The only thing he had on his side when he was fighting in northern Africa and all through Italy and whatnot was he had experienced troops. But he had inferior, yes, in tactics. But he had no air support. He didn't have bombers and planes coming over him, destroying the enemy tanks. He didn't have any of that stuff. And he would win battle after battle, even without the air support, with the inferior equipment, just by coming in and just doing what he had to do to win.
What song did Air Support sing from the 80s? What was it?
I'm not in the hair metal. That's not my thing. Sorry.
That's why I can't think of it. I just know that they were... All right, anyway. But yeah, so his men were like, hey, this dude's fucking cool because most of us are still alive and they're not because we won. Yeah, high five. And everybody's high-fiving. And then they take all their clothes off because they think they see an oasis. But it's actually fucking water. It's not even like a mirage. And they're all swimming together having a cool beach day.
Cool beach day.
And today, Germany's largest army base still bears his name. And that says something because after World War II...
Because they scrubbed the fucking Nazis out of everything.
Yes. Germany did everything in its power to get rid of any sign. I mean, Hitler's family changed their names. Mengele's family changed their name. Everything was scrubbed except for Rommel.
You have to admit, that's a pretty big fucking oopsie to want standing around. Like, you teach people about it, but you don't fucking throw it up on billboards. Hey, this is where it was.
Exactly.
Fair enough.
Fuck you, Jefferson Davis.
To me, he was a soldier. He loved his country. He did everything he could to save his men. He wasn't just going to throw them away like Patton would blatantly send wave after wave into somewhere until it was just
Patton was a fucking
his force was decimated,
supreme.
but he would still win.
Fucking couldn't stand that motherfucker.
I have some respect for Patton, but at the same time, he is not what I would model my life after.
No, because he didn't see his soldiers as lives. He saw them as toys to be thrown into the fire as long as it put out the fucking fire.
Exactly.
Pawns
but
all day.
My grandfather was a huge World War II buff, and I just remember him having all the documentaries, the books, everything like that. He fought in World War II, and even he had much respect for Rommel. And Rommel and my grandfather were really reasons why I actually joined the military when I did. So it was before the 9/11, before the Mad Rush, before all of that. I wanted to serve my country.
I hear that.
And it wasn't because I hated anybody, and it wasn't because I actually wanted to go kill anybody. It's because I actually wanted to serve and defend my country.
I hear that, and I respect that. And that is exactly the reason why I never did. Because my grandpa was in Pearl Harbor, and he fought in World War II and in Korea and things like that. And my dad was in Vietnam and shit. But I grew up from a very early age. I mean, everybody grows up from a very early age, but mine...
You don't say.
What?
I had this idea in it where, when you're in something like that, it's the government who tells you what you're going to go live, die, and fight for, and fuck them. They're not my brain.
Yeah,
I'll fucking kill somebody for the reason I want. I'll fucking defend myself for the reason that I want.
Yeah.
And so that's what always really scared me about it, is that someone else's decision, someone else's pissing contest, or as Rob loves to bring up, dick measuring contest.
Yep.
That's right. Slap them out, boys.
Decides what fucking barren wasteland I'm being sent to die.
Yep.
That always kind of freaked me out.
I was just an asshole and didn't want to be told what to do. Yeah. Same shit.
But I do absolutely understand and respect your decision to do the opposite.
For sure. Yeah, no, when I say things like the sheep and all that, like, I get it. It's admirable. I appreciate it. All of that fun stuff. Respect where respect is due. But at the same time, I personally have never gone into anything 100% thinking that everybody's telling the truth and that everybody is on the up and up.
Oh, no, that's a good way to live your life.
I try anyway.
So, Rob, in closing here, because we are fucking perfectly timed, I could not have worked out better.
Nice.
I have just one question for you.
Okay.
You ever kill anybody?
Not in the services.
Not in the services. Okay, so Rob just got scarier.
I did grow up in Baltimore now.
I like this episode quite a bit, actually, and so did my dog, which is why he's barking at me right now. It might be because he liked the episode. It could be because he's about to piss on my floor. So, what I'll say here is, you've just listened to another fucking awesome episode of Bark Bark. Exactly.
Bark, bark.
You fucking see no, hear no, speak no.
Yeah. I'll catch my cue this time also with the UFOs, conspiracies, and murders.
And me.
Yeah, this was a pretty cool one. Thanks for that, Robot.
Remember to buy your t-shirts, to email us, see no, hear no, speak no, pod@gmail.com.
Indeed. With some suggestions and shit.
And if you actually have someone who changed your life somewhere, tell that person if you can. Because everybody's got somebody in their life that at one point in their time said something to them that just stopped them in their tracks and made them actually examine themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And if the rest of his life wasn't such a boring piece of shit, I'd have talked about who in my personal life fucking helped me out with my shit. So, but like I said, before my dog fucking pisses on my floor, which he's totally about to do in 3 seconds, I'm going to do a fucking countdown, and hopefully he doesn't start peeing when I get to 1.
Awesome.
Good night, children. 3, 2, 1.
Buenos noches.
Bye-bye.
Spider-Man, friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Well, the man is ignored. Action is his reward to him. Life is a great big bang up. Whenever there's a hang up, you'll find a